Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022 to 2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating the Dhanurmasam, the start of holy month, starting from today and ending on 14th January 2024. That is starting on 17th December 2023. In fact, it started yesterday night, but generally we consider the time of sunrise as the start. In that system, today it started, and those who consider the time, irrespective of whether sunrise or moonrise, it started yesterday. So in either case, it is going to end on 14 January 2024. So this month is the most auspicious month. As on this day, sun enters into Dhanur Rashi, that is Sagittarius zodiac sign, forming this auspicious month of Dhanur Masa, as sun enters into the Dhanur Rashi. Especially this month is grandly celebrated in South Indian states and across the world where people from South India has settled. Especially if you look at Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, and Kerala, where there are huge number of Vaishnavite sects who celebrate this month with worshipping Lord Sri Mahavishnu, and Andal, also known as Goda Devi or Neela Devi, and Tirupavai, a divine text written by Andal, Sri Goda Devi, is recited by all devotees, and Goda Devi Kalyanam is also performed and celebrated during Dhanurmasa. So we will discuss in detail in the last, after all the commemorations. So that was in brief. We wish you all happy Dhanurmasam. This is the season dedicated to prayers. This is the season dedicated to the worship as goddess Andal, that is Goda Devi, has given us the wonderful way of reaching the God, praying the God, and getting our vows fulfilled. So, starting from today, it's a wonderful opportunity every day to recite Tirupavai. Either it has been translated also into many languages. Maybe you can also recite in your own language, or you can recite in Tamil language. The rendering is available. We will see every day each is dedicated to each pasra. So we'll at the end of the commemorations, we'll also daily online, we'll also learn gist of each pasura so that we also get the divine blessings of Lord Sri Mahavishnu and also Sri Goda Devi, and seek her blessings, seeks almighty blessings to fulfill our wishes, vows, and bless us all with prosperity, health, and wealth and wisdom. So, in this auspicious month, so we will be daily learning about the gist. We are not going to recite here, but we are just going to learn about the meaning of each day Pasram for the next 30 days. So today we will start with our first commemoration. Today is commemorated as Bhutan National Day every year on December 17th. Changlimitang Stadium is prepared as has been done in previous years to celebrate and commemorate Bhutan National Holiday. It dates back as far as 1907. This holiday commemorates the coronation of the first king of Bhutan, Ugyen Wangchuck, as the first Druk Gyalpo. This is the reason his statue is carried during processions on every holiday. So during early 17th century, Bhutan experienced its first unification by a Buddhist monk, Wang Namgyal. Bhutan at that time was ruled by the Tibetan dual system of government, where Zabdrung reincarnations of the mind, body, and speech was practiced, and Wang Yamgal was the leader. During the late 19th century, the Tibetan and the British Empire had different ideas about how Bhutan should be governed. This led to an outbreak of war between Tibet and British Empire. Regional leaders in Bhutan began struggling with one another for power. This led Ugyen Wangchuck, the Ponlop of Tongsa in central Bhutan, to stand out. He united the country and built a better relationship with British India. When Ugyen Wangchuck became the dominant leader in Bhutan, religious leaders and government officials held a meeting and decided to abolish the 300-year-old dual system of previous government style of governance and establish a new one. This eventually settled for monarchy and chose Ugyen Wangchuck as their king. On December 17, 1907, the coronation of the first king, Gyalpo Ugyen Wangchuck, was witnessed, establishing the Wangchuck dynasty, which is still ruling today. Gyalpo is the official title given to the Bhutan head of the state. It means Dragon King in Dzongkha. This because Bhutan is also known as the land of Thunder Dragon. About Drang, the mystical dragon that is also the national symbol of Bhutan. Unlike the Tezu holidays, which are celebrated locally in Bhutan, the national holiday is celebrated nationally, shutting down all the activities in the country, including the government agencies, making it the most significant holiday in Bhutan. The fourth king of Bhutan establishes democracy in Bhutan, which culminates into Bhutan's first democratic parliamentary election in March 2008. So, National Day is a day set aside for celebrations to mark the nationhood of a nation or state. And national days are celebrated majorly to remind the people of how their country gained its sovereignty and also to increase patriotism. And the day marked with Ugyen Wangchuck, who was elected as hereditary king in 1907. And to celebrate this nationwide ceremony, all government offices are shut down and all attention is channelized to creating a remarkable memory of the celebration in the heart of the guests that have traveled near and far. This is a perfect day to shut down the office and observe. Preparations are made from Department of Tourism to the Palace of the Track to the preparation of Changling Mitang ground for the event. So everything is just prepared beautifully for the celebration of that glamorous day. The Bhutanese move to the celebration ground where dignitaries from all walks of life will be present to celebrate the event with them. That could be a good place to be. The nationwide event commemorates the coronation of the first king, so it reminds the Bhutanese of the bold step taken by their first king to bring unity to Bhutan. The national holiday has been celebrated yearly in Bhutan since its inception, rounding off to 114 national holidays in total. During the celebration, delegates from different countries, nations, travel far and near to celebrate with the people of Bhutan, making it a popular event. The Changling Mitang grounds or stadium, which was constructed in 1974 for the coronation of the fourth drug, has since been used continuously to celebrate National Day. During the celebration of Bhutan National Day, the statue of first Gyalpo, Ugyen Wangchuk, is carried out during the processions. A time most people use to rest and have fun, as it's a public holiday. Friends and family travel down for the celebration, strengthening the family bond again. Get together with your family on this day. It reminds the Bhutanese of the freedom for Bhutan and how the first Galpo, Ugyen Wangchuk, helped in the meditation for the Bhutan nation. Today is also commemorated as Festival Walks of Winter in UK. The festival of Winter Walks is celebrated annually during the holiday season from third Saturday of December to the first Sunday of January. This year it takes place from December 17th to January 1st. This festival is organized by the Ramblers and have been part of the UK festive season for over 30 years now. It aims to encourage more people to get walking, especially in green, nature dense areas, to take in the wintry beauty of Britain, and the walks are generally free and open to anyone to join. Each walk is different, allowing participants an option of the kind views they want to take in when they participate. The Ramblers is a charitable organization that aims to protect the ability of people to enjoy a sense of freedom and the benefits that come from being outdoors on the foot. It brings individuals and groups together to enjoy walking and ensures the protection and expansion of the infrastructure of these areas. By law, the Ramblers organization in England and Wales needs to be consulted before there are any changes to the walking paths. The organization has hundreds of volunteers looking after thousands of miles of walking paths. The organization also works to protect the places and building outcomes. This organization has hundreds of volunteers looking for thousands of miles of walking paths. Organization also works to protect the places. Their walking paths cross mainly in the countryside and in urban green spaces. They do this through active collaboration with other organizations with similar goals as well as local communities. The Ramblers Association is established on January 1st, 1935. The first Ramblers office is set up in Liverpool. In 1938, the Countryside and Rights of the Way Act secures public access to mountains, moons, health, and downland. The Rambers launch of the contest to the Forestry Commission's plans to sell off public accessible woodlands in 2011. Today is also commemorated as National Device Appreciation Day. This day is an opportunity to appreciate the devices that help us lead our lives and take steps to protect these that are most important. The best, most effective way to protect all the items that contributes key in your life is to properly insulate them, ensuring that they continue to positively impact your life for first years to come. And no matter what unexpected problems arise, Transverse has sponsored National Device Appreciation Day in order to gain or get the word out properly, ensuring your most important belonging in a way that makes the most sense for your lifestyle. Transverse is backed by Travelers, a trusted insurance company that has been in the business for over 165 years. Insurance is often the last thing you think about until you absolutely need it, but it can make the difference between the weathering a turn of bad luck and not. Homeowners and renters insurance are importantly protections against the various hazards like the fire, theft, but the expense and administrative effects of their ensuring an entire home wealth. It turns out insurance has been around in various forms of millennia. Merchants in the ancient cities of Rhodes could pay what was known as the general average, who covered them against shipping losses when goods were shipped collectively. The ancient Greeks and Romans had maritime loans, which insured against similar issues, and it was a commonplace through sometimes, though sometimes controversial, to provide similar types of coverage during the medieval period. However, we trace modern forms of insurance and inducing, including property insurance, to the European Enlightenment period of the 17th century. The earliest known types of insurance available to the public guarded against fire damage in the city of Hamburg, Germany in 1676, but properly insured as we know it today has its roots in one of the history's most iconic events of the Great Fire of London. In the aftermath of the Great Fire, which destroyed some 13,000 residences, London economists created the insurance office for houses, which protected residents from damage caused by fires. Today, there are many different types of insurance that protect persons and property from a whole host of incidents. So today there are different types of insurance that protects persons and property from a whole lot of inclement events, such as fire, weather, sickness, death, etc. While isn't always the most exciting aspect of modern life, it remains more crucial than ever as belongings. So, property insurance covers loss of physical property due to damage or theft. The most typical kinds of property insurance include renters and homeowners insurance. Property insurance can also include liability insurance to cover the cost of those insured on the property. Protecting the most important items in your life is about more than just being able to recoup costs if the worst happens. It means you can guard against major challenges in your life that can arise from sudden loss or property. There are several ways to provide insurance coverage in the US. Renters and homeowners property insurance protect against losses of things that are in your home and liabilities occurring in your home. However, that's not the most effective way to insure your stuff. La carte insurance products like Travis can also provide the flexible and cost-effective coverage of the most important things in your life. With insurance for just about $1 per month that can be activated in under a minute and pays out cash if something happens. So, are you protected if the worst happens to your phone, laptop, or other crucial item? Or for that matter, for yourself, this is the time to assess your insurance needs and does check whether does your current insurance provides enough coverage to repair or replace those items. Understanding your state of insurance is important because tragedy strikes. So we all been there. You are taking selfies of yourself living the best possible life. Oops, down goes your phone to share the most epic way you destroy, and phone is to serve a humorous cautionary tale against going with them without insurance. Even if you think you have the best personal property coverage in the world, it's worth giving transfers a try. It's a fun way to think about an unfun topic. No one likes thinking about the insurance, but if you ever found yourself on the wrong side of the busted laptop you wish you had, so this National Device Appreciation Day also helps to think about the coverage we need in a way that is more fun than insurance tends to be. Insurance feels like a modern day concept, and in it, a lot of ways of it is, but its roots go back to 6,000 years and is based in helping people protect people against unforeseen. It has ever been encoded by Hammurabi. It was a good idea then, and it's starting. It may come to as a surprise, but there are new and easy ways to cover the most important belongings in your life beyond traditional homeowners, property, and renters insurance. National Device Appreciation Day galvanizes us to look into other options that better suit our lives. Today is also commemorated as National Maple Syrup Day in US and Canada. This viscous yet delicious condiment that is just as versatile as it is tasty. People enjoy it drizzled over everything from pancakes to salads to barbecue. This sugary substance that has more potential than some give a credit for. The origins of the production of maple syrup can be traced back thousands of years to the northeastern region of the United States. There it was first gleaned from the abandoned maple tree population by indigenous people. While it is uncertain as to how and why exactly the extraction process first began, it is arguable that maple sap became. The arrival of European colonists would allow for the introduction of maple syrup to the old world, and their love for the taste of arboreal byproduct was matched by their appreciation for its utility. It was popular substitute for cane sugar, as this had to be imported from West Indies region, and its ability to exist in both liquid and crystallized from form made it an ideal deal source for concentrated sugar. Today, the consumption of maple syrup is no longer reserved for chieftains or special celebratory events. It's not only used across the world, but production chains have even sprung up in countries like Japan and South Korea. Canada now produces the vast majority of the world's maple syrup supply, with its total exports valued at Approximately 40 gallons of maple sap are required to produce juice, just 1 gallon of maple syrup. You think that conversion rate is crazy? Consider the maple syrup production is arguably the most efficient today than it's ever been. According to the New York Times, Canada is responsible for roughly 70% of the world's total supply of maple syrup, fitting for the country. In 2012, 6 million pounds of maple syrup was stolen from the syrup stockpile held by the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers. While authorities managed to crack down dozens of people responsible for the theft, about one third of their take is still to be reached. 6 million pounds were stolen in 2012. So, Canada is the largest producer of maple syrup within the country. The province of Quebec is responsible for the majority of syrup output. Pure maple syrup is produced by first extracting the somewhat sweet sap of the sugar maple tree and then concentrating the sap through a process of heating and evaporation. So the best grade of maple syrup depends on your flavor preference. There are four categorizations of grade A maple syrup, and they range between golden, amber, dark, and very dark colorings with distinct flavors to match. Pure natural maple syrup is a thinner substance. Thicker syrups that some are familiar with are denser due to use of corn syrup in the mixture with additional maple flavoring. So while you might be wise to taste the maple syrup so pancakes, it's hard not to love something that's mostly sugar and it's full of sugar. Today is also commemorated as White Brothers Day in US. The day commemorates the first successful flights in a mechanically propelled airplane that was heavier than air. The planes were made by Orville and Wilbur Wright, or the Wright brothers, in 1903 near Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. In the West, a proclamation is made annually inviting Americans to celebrate the day with various ceremonies and activities. Wright Brothers is an important event in US history and advancement of aviation. Man has taken huge leaps in aviation over the past century, and Orville Wilbur had a huge part in this development in the West. The Wright brothers were always fascinated with flying from a young age. The brothers were two of seven children born to Milton Wright and Susan Catherine Cornell. The family moved 12 times because of Milton's Wright's position as a bishop in church to the United Brethren in Christ before permanently moving to Dayton in 1884. The young Wright brothers' father brought home a toy helicopter for him in 1878. The toy device was based on an invention by the French aeronautical pioneer Alphonse Pinard. Wilbur and Orville played with it until it broke, and then they built their own. They credited the toy as the origin of their interest in flying. 1896 saw these three notable aeronautical events which were embedded in the minds of the Wright brothers and marked the beginning of their serious interest in flight research. They favored the strategy of practicing gliding in order to master the art of control before trying out a motor driven flight. This was inspired by German glider Otto Lilienthal, and despite Lilienthal plunging to his death in August 1896, the Wright brothers noted that his gliding was a correct way to go about learning to fly a motor powered aircraft. So the brothers' experience with flying was quite simple yet impressive. They observed birds and how the animals change the angle of their wings to make their bodies roll left or right. Wilbur concluded that this would also be a great way for flying machine to turn, just like bird or a person or riding a bicycle. After several weeks of delays prompted by broken propeller shafts during the engine test, the Wright brothers finally took to the air on December 17th, 1903. The historic moment saw Orville and Wilbur Wright make two flights each from level ground into a glacial headwind blowing at 27 miles per hour. The first flight by Orville at 10:35 a.m. flew 120 feet in 12 seconds at a speed of 6.8 miles per hour. This was recorded in famous photograph. The next flights traveled roughly 175 and 200 feet by both Wilbur and Orville respectively at an altitude of 10 feet above the ground. The two aviation pioneers are now regarded as brothers who invented, built, and flew the world's first successful motor operated airplane. The states of Ohio and North Carolina both take the credit for the Wright brothers and their world changing inventions because the brothers developed and built their design in Dayton, Ohio, and the first powered flight took place in the Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So this created a friendly rivalry between the two states. Although they were from humble beginnings, the Wright brothers Although they were from humble beginnings, the Wright brothers' extraordinary success led to the contracts in both Europe and the United States, and they soon became wealthy business owners. They began building a grand family home in Dayton where they had spent much of their childhood. So Taylor, a mechanic who worked in the Dayton, Ohio bicycle shop owned by Orville and Wilbur Wright, is credited with building the lightweight engine that powered the craft that took flight at Kitty Hawk on December 17, 1900. In 1896, newspapers were filled with accounts of flying machines. Wilbur and Orville noticed that all these primitive aircraft lacked suitable controls. They began to wonder how a pilot might balance an aircraft with the air in just a cyclist balances his bicycle on the road. So, aviation history is full of exciting accomplishments, adventure, and heroism. There are several aviation museums across the US and the world. You can go see or even do a virtual tour online. There's also a Dayton Aviation History National Historical Park, which displays the accomplishments of the Wright brothers and other aviation pioneers and their abilities to take a dream turn into reality. And there's something a kind of fascinating and nostalgic about watching planes in the sky. If you live near an airport, climb onto your roof or lie down in your backyard and watch the planes go by. You can even go to an airport and watch planes take off while sitting in a departure lounge and sipping on coffee or reading a book. Although the Wright brothers were not first to build and fly experimental aircraft, they are recognized as the first to invent aircraft controls that made fixed wing flight possible. So make sure to ponder over achievements as you watch the modern day planes go by. So the Wright brothers noted how birds fly in the sky and how a bicycle is ridden to give them the ideas they needed to fly a motor powered aircraft. This was pretty big deal and cutting edge technology during early 1900s. These days we have drones and modern devices that help us feel that it's like to actually fly. While the brides were pioneers in manned flight, learning how to fly a drone can be also a perfect way to get into the cutting edge of aviation while taking killer photography or videos from the above. The busiest commercial airport in the world is Hartsfield Jackson Airport in Atlanta with more than 110 million passengers a year. Though the aviation sector is growing rapidly, less than 20% of the world's population has ever flown on an airplane. Not everyone gets to fly. The incredible Boeing 747 is it's made up of 6 million parts, and one of them is its engine, which weighs almost 9,500 pounds and cost about $8 million. The world's oldest airline is KLM Royal Dutch Airlines, is the world's oldest airline established in 1919, shortly followed by Qantas in 1920. At any given hour, there are 61,000 people airborne over the USA. So we love planes, we admire problem solving skills, we love intellectual curiosity. Today is also commemorated as Saturnalia, which is an ancient Roman festival and holiday held to celebrate the agriculture god Saturn. It is most popular day on the ancient Roman calendar and was derived from the older farming related rituals of midwinter and winter solstice. It was the liveliest festival of the year with sounds of merriment and preparation everywhere. It would be difficult not to take notice of the Saturnalia celebrations even if you were new to the environment, as the people took it very, very serious. During this time, normal social patterns came to halt. Feasting, gifting, singing, dancing, games, gambling, decorations, and role reversals were usual activities. So on this day, business, schools, courts, and other forms of work would stop so that everyone could join in the fun. It was the best days, so Saturnalia is the salutation during the season. So Whenever you hear this greeting, Lo Saturnalia, in this salutation during this season. So, whenever you hear this greeting, know that there is an excitement in the air and it is in the honor of goddess Saturn. The pagan celebration of the Roman god Saturn first began in a single day but later extended to a whole week during late Republic. The festival began on December 17th of the Julian calendar with the Romans used in those days and initially ended on December 25th, the time at which winter solstice fell. During the celebration period, all activities came to halt. Slaves were allowed to take part in the celebration and even reverse roles with their masters. Thus, Saturnalia celebrations are the source of many traditions associated even with Christmas. During Saturnalia, celebrations were held not only at home but also in the temple of Saturn in Rome. In the 4th century, the temple was constructed in a place of an older temple. On the first day of Saturnalia celebrations, a young pig would be sacrificed publicly. Of course, this is against animal rights, but that's a different issue. Also, during the celebrations, the woolen boards tied around the feet of the cult statue were loosened to signify God's freedom. Numerous archaeological sites from the Roman coastal province of Constantine, now in Algeria, demonstrate the statue of Saturn survived there until the early 3rd century. Western culture of today derived many of its traditional midwinter celebrations from Saturnalia. The pagans and Christians lived together during this time and might have represented an effort for the pagans to receive Christianity as Rome official religion in those days. So the symbol for Saturn is thought to be ancient scythe or sickle, as Saturn was god of seed sowing. Christmas is not Saturnalia, but Christmas originated from Saturnalia. Romans spent Saturnalia much like how uh, Christmas is celebrated in a similar way, like feasting, drinking, gift giving, and being joyful. So, Christmas originated from Saturnalia. After the conversion of Rome Emperor to Christianity, the church elders sought a more solemn celebration of their Christian followers. Thus, Saturnalia is still celebrated and also, like Christmas, starting from today till Christmas. The, the colors of are green and gold. Wearing these colors send a message that you are in the mood of the season. And try making snacks into the shapes of sun, moon, stars, herd animals, and fertility symbols. You can cut your cookies into these shapes before baking during Saturnalia. Decorate over doorways, windows, and stairs with greenery. Although garlands or wreaths are ideal, you could also add golden cutouts of the sun or golden pine cones, nuts, or acorns. And slaves also enjoyed luxury. Saturnalia was the time to celebrate freedom and destroy hierarchies. During this period, slaves could enjoy luxury alongside with their masters. And this was to mark the end of autumn planting in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture. All schools, courts, and businesses were halted. Activities ceased during Saturnalia, and is a holiday season. Giving gifts was the most important aspect outside of the public fest. Signalia, that is, small bags or pottery figurines, which something became the toys that we give out today. Signalia could be quite expensive depending on their orateness. Cheaper gifts like dice, writing tables, combs, and tools were also given. Everyone looked forward to this time. Saturnalia gave people time away from all forms of work activities. This made it a good time to reunite with distant family relatives and friends. The celebration period gave people time to relax and enjoy themselves. What better way to celebrate? So, as mentioned, this month is celebrated and commemorated as Holy Month. And the most famous thing about this Margali month or Margashira month or Dhanurmasam is Tirupavai, Sri Andal's 30 verses for the 30 days of this holy month dedicated to the worship and praise of Lord, to the exclusion of all other celebrations and earthly events. So that's why, as this month is entirely dedicated, so no marriages, no personal celebrations which belong to humans as such is prohibited, because this entire month is dedicated to God and to be worshipped and dedicated to the God. Any celebrations has to go in the name of God to the God. So that's why we see there are no celebrations or no muhurtas or no dates for marriages or anything, or for that matter, any celebration in this month, that is in this 1 month period. So, um, let's briefly look at the Sri Andal story. I'm not getting into detail because it will consume a lot of time. So we'll just look at briefly. Andal Goda Devi was discovered as a baby by her foster father, Periyalvar, in his garden at a town called Srivilliputtur in Tamil Nadu, India. Andal grew up with the intense devotion to the Lord and was so fond of Lord Krishna that she pictured herself as one of the Gopikas and aspired to wed the Lord. Her father used to make pad to wed the Lord. Her father used to make a garland for the Lord every day and take it to temple and adorn the God. Andal used to take that garland and wear it herself and picture the scene of Lord putting the garland on her, symbolic of the marriage, and then admire the enhancement of her beauty and glow as she wore the Lord's garland. Legend has it that one day, like every other day, she had worn the garland before her father took it to the temple. But on the day, the priest notices a strand of hair on the garland and refused to put it on the Lord, saying this is not pure and that someone had already worn it. Periyalvar was totally crestfallen at this very inauspicious happening and came back home dejected and scolded this child severely. In some time, Lord appears in the mind of the priest and orders him to bring the garland back, saying that The garland he likes is the same. So he likes the priest and Andal's father, Periyalvar, realized the true nature of Andal's intense devotion and the appreciation of the same by the Lord and wear the garland on the day to everyone's joy. So Andal continues to celebrate her Lord and sing his praises in many a verse, does her penance to attain him. The Tirupava is one such work in which her worship manifests eventually. The Lord one fine day comes and marries her and takes her into his fold. So, in the first verse of 30 Pasurams, so today is the first recited, today is the first day. So, the first verse of 30 verses, the meaning of the first verse is very simple. It can be explained in detail. On this full moon day of the month of Margali or Dhanurmasam or Margali Masam or Margashira Masam month, all who set out to bath the holy bath, take the holy bath, the young girls of the prosperous Ayarpadi town, the son of Nandagopan, who wields a cruel sharp spear, the young lion cub of Ashoda with the beautiful eyes, the black tweed red-eyed lord who shines like the midday sun. It's only that Narayana who will give us the boons. So let's join with the world in praising his glory. Girls, so she invites. The first verse sets the time as the first day of the month of Margali. When Sri Andal sung this verse, that was probably a full moon day. Tingal month Madi moon. Andal invites the young girls of the prosperous Ayurpadi and everyone to symbolically bath and join in the excellent and exemplary worship of Lord Narayana, who will bless us and give the succor. Like in all verses, the Lord is referenced not just by name, but a number of lines of praise about his form, lineage, beauty, valor, kindness, and many virtues, and also anecdotes from his victories and other illustrious events. In this verse, the Lord is referred as Krishna, the son of Nandagopan, who is ever vigilant with a sharp spear to protect the baby Krishna, the lion cub like son of the beautiful eyed Yashoda, the Lord who is dark and whose face is radiant like the sun. So, similarly, we will daily look at each pasra, each verse on each day, and we will enjoy the essence of Tirupavai and seek the blessings of Goddess Sri Anda, Godadevi. So, thank you everyone. With this, we shall conclude the commemorations for the day for joining us. So, see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Before leaving the platform, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form that has been shared. In the form of polls. So thank you everyone once again. We wish you all happy Dhanurmas or Margali Mas, and we wish and pray for you all, for everyone's well-being, that Lord Almighty Goddess Sri God, Lord Sri Mahavishnu and Goddess Sri Andal Godadevi bless us with immense wisdom, prosperity, health, and well being to all of us. Sarve Jana Sukhno Bhavantu. See you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.